All right, hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Plant 3D User Community Virtual Meetup for January. So I want to wish everybody a happy new year and thank you for joining us today. So just before we begin, I want to remind you that try to keep your line muted if possible to reduce the background noise unless you're asking a question. If you have a question during the session, be sure to raise your hand, or you can use the Q&A question answer box within GoToWebinar here, and we'll address those as they come up. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted when it's available at the customer success site, the link below. So my name is Jason Drew. I'm a designated support specialist with Autodesk. I provide technical support to our enterprise support customers and the Autodesk communities and the following products that are listed here, mainly specializing in plant and P&ID. So before joining Autodesk, I spent 10 years in IT support and then 3 years as a P&ID designer in industry at an oil and gas company in Tulsa. And I've been with Autodesk for 8 years now as a support specialist. So joining me today is Joel Harris as a co-presenter. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Joel so he can do his introduction.
Hi, everybody. My name is Joel Harris. I'm a colleague of Jason's working as a DSS here for enterprise support customers. My background is in process plant design, typically in oil and gas. And I've also taught AutoCAD P&ID in the technical college level. And glad to be here today. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you. So for the agenda, we'll have an overview of what these sessions are about, just for anyone that hasn't joined so far. We'll have some general news and updates on Plant 3D. The main topic for today is where to get training for Plant 3D. So we're going to talk a little bit about what kind of training is out there, how you can get access to that, get some details there, and then we'll follow up on any questions that we had from last month. And at the end, we'll have some open discussion and Q&A. So the overall purpose goal for these sessions here is to provide a routine engagement for the plant design community in the local regions, and we'll show you here in a little bit that we have 3 sessions that we run for each geo. We want to foster a collaborative user community and increase the understanding and knowledge of Plant 3D and the associated tools. Each session is intended to be kind of a casual engagement. We'll have a small portion for the news and information, followed by a more general discussion around products and workflows. We try to share, a tip and trick of some sort with each session, and hopefully the discussion at the end is driven by the users that are attending. So this is our safe harbor statement. I'm not going to read this whole slide, but we do have to make this statement that we may be talking about future or planned development efforts in these sessions. And of course, plans and schedules are subject to change. So we ask that you don't make any business decisions based off what we show here. We go through some forward-looking statements and things like that. So just want to point that out. So just kind of moving into the Plant 3D news here. The beta for Plant 3D, which is the code name is Rogue, it's really Plant 3D 2021. So that's still going on the AutoCAD Customer Council. It was originally underneath its own beta site, or like a Plant 3D beta site. Now it's underneath the AutoCAD Customer Council, along with electrical, architecture, and the other verticals there. So we had an original serial number for that was ending in January. There's a new serial number that will extend that out till March. So the official close of the beta is going to be March 18th. So there's still time to go out there and join. You can email the Plant 3D team here if you want to join, and they will add you into that group. And just to note, anything that we show here on the slides, all of these hyperlinks and everything, you'll be able to get access to these when we publish the slide deck afterwards. So no need to try and scramble and capture these. You'll get a copy of these afterwards. The other thing I wanted to mention is that there's some feedback that's been requested in the beta. The product team is collecting customer feedback on how people are backing up their projects and then uploading those to the new Docs platform for testing. So for those of you that don't know, the current cloud integration with Plant 3D is built on top of BIM 360 Team, which came out in 2018 releases a plan, and then since then been working on moving it to the new next generation platform, which is BIM 360 Docs. So that's in the beta, something you can test and try out. So looking forward to that in the future. We have a new YouTube series that we're running. So this is on the Autodesk AutoCAD channel. We're doing a series called Plant 3D with the Experts. So we record various topics over the year. We've got a schedule set out there, so we'll publish those out. There's a link here to go to the playlist where you can you'll subscribe to that and you'll get updates whenever we post new videos. We're trying to do one roughly every few weeks, so you'll see those pop in there as we upload those. As far as the plant community meetups, this link here will take you to a page where you can sign up for the sessions for February, March, and in fact, all throughout the year, you can see the links there and sign up. You'll also find out there the different geo time zones. So if you want to sign up for the European or Asia Pacific region, you can use those links, and that way you can share those out with colleagues in your company or social media. Anybody that wants to join can sign up there. I wanted to mention that during AU, there was a session ran for Plant 3D. We had Misha Belovsky, who's the product owner for Plant, providing some updates on where Plant 3D is at, what's going on with the transition over to the Docs beta, and just some really good information. It was broadcast live from AU, recorded with the video of the people in the room there. So you can get to that through that session recording link. And I also want to mention the Autodesk Group Network. So this website, you can go here and search for local user groups, like perhaps you have an Augie group in your region or a group that's meeting up in a local city. And it can be really on any product. There's user groups on AutoCAD, Civil 3D, Revit. There's some Plant 3D groups that we've listed here. There's one on LinkedIn. There's also the AutoCAD Plant Community Meetups are listed out there as well. So you can go to that site and you can filter down by the location and product to find what you're looking for there, and hopefully meet up with some individuals in your region. So to the main topic here, what we want to discuss today around getting training for Plant 3D is what does training look like? How do you obtain training? So we'll kind of go into depth here and explain to what the options are and what we've seen customers doing so far. Just to kind of start out to give some clarity around the two categories of Plant 3D training that we typically see offered. There's Essentials and Advanced. So an Essentials course is for either Plant 3D or P&ID and typically covers the overall user interface and the day-to-day workflows with the software, basically what a P&ID or a pipe designer would need to know. And these classes are usually 1 or 2 days, depending on the software and features that are covered. So you might run a P&ID class for 1 day, and then the second day go into 3D modeling on the plant side of things. So an Essentials class is basically going to be the basic. It's not going to get into project setup or advanced configuration typically. That's really covered on an advanced course. So the advanced training would cover the administrative side of things, where you maybe have a CAD administrator that's setting up new projects. In addition to that, those classes usually get into customization of part catalogs and spec sheets. So if you have a spec writer in-house, you'd want to make sure that they go through the advanced training as well. Typically, the advanced course is going to build on top of the essentials. So if you have anybody that's going to be administrating a project, make sure they go through essentials to get kind of the baseline there, and then go through the advanced course. So it does kind of build on top of the other concepts there. And we always recommend that you get a copy or review the course or the outline of syllabus before making a decision, just to make sure that everything's covered in the class that you pick. So every vendor has a little bit different session that they run there. So one of the options that you have for training is online. So these are sort of self-paced type of courses. We've listed 4 of these here that we've seen used most often. There's definitely more out there. So these are really nice because having the ability to sign in at any time and pick up where you left off makes it really accessible and convenient to get into these classes like this. So basically, there's going to be some of these courses that have essentials and advanced and some that may not have advanced. So you want to be sure you check out the detailed course guides for these to be sure that it has everything you need before you sign up for one of those. But all of these links here will take you to these providers where you can get more information and pricing on what they offer here. So another option, and what we see used most often in like a corporate or enterprise environment, is an instructor-led classroom style training course. So classes can be conducted through an Autodesk authorized training center or on site at your location. This could either be your team going out to the local training center to use their classroom labs, or having an authorized trainer visit your location on site to run a class in your own environment, your own computer lab. There's also options for online training, or like remote or virtual classroom training, as they often call it. So this is where the instructor conducts the course through a live session, maybe Zoom, or I think there's even a GoTo training session now that's available. And these remote options, offer greater flexibility for travel, and or reduce the need for travel, so they're really convenient. So as mentioned before, make sure any of these classes that you sign up for are covering the topics that you need. We recommend that you work closely with your Autodesk partner or consultant on that. We've got a link here that will take you to the page on Autodesk where you can search for your local area, down to the city and the state, country, to find an authorized partner in your region. Let's see here. Well, I also want to mention that the training is often, it's sort of like by the book training, and it really is just by the book. So what's covered in the training manuals is usually enough to get you started, but a lot of these trainings can be customized. So if you want to focus on a certain area, be sure to do that. Maybe you have, oops, sorry, clicked the wrong button there. So maybe you have something that you want to focus on, like P&IDs or specs and catalogs. You can always ask to have extra time included on that. You can also bundle in things like consulting. If you need to have an expert on site for a day or so, you can factor that in and have somebody there, either on site doing sort of over the shoulder type of training and coaching with you, or maybe a secondary remote session where you can work with someone to help you get through the initial configuration of your project. So as far as training manuals and books, we just want to kind of cover off what it looks like as far as an Autodesk authorized publishing program. So we have a link here to the site that will take you to a page that will show the authorized publishers. So basically, Autodesk recognizes a select group of these publishers that create high quality learning materials in various formats, books, videos, and things of that nature. So we wanted to point that out. Look for that authorized publisher stamp there, and you know that you're getting something that's definitely vetted and it's going to be high quality. So if you do go through a training course, you may see something like this when Ascent Publishing puts out a courseware book for Plant Design 2019. So these are the kind of books that you would use in classroom environment and training. Now, one thing you might want to look for in the market is like I said before, make sure it's from an authorized publisher like this. So these courseware guides are intended to be used in training centers, corporations. Like if you have an in-house training program and you want to purchase these books to use, you can do that as well. It's also used, in trade schools, colleges, things like that. So really well known. You can get these in either ebook or an actual physical printed copy. And put a link to the Ascent website to go find out more information about that and how to order those. And there's certainly more out there. These are just ones that we see used pretty often. And then in addition to the actual courseware books, there are other just sort of like books that are out there besides training manuals. And I want to use some caution and go back and mention that the authorized program, because some books out there, if you just search around online, you may find somebody that's selling a PDF file. You may not really know if that's just somebody downloading and reselling it. So that's why I recommend looking for an authorized publisher or authorized author. For example, this one here from CAD Sim Technologies is the Plant 3D 2020 book that's available on their website or from Amazon.com. So I wanted to mention that as well. And then as far as training articles and technical reference, we've got a lot of information on the Autodesk Knowledge Network. So if you go out searching on there, you can find either troubleshooting articles, and a lot of times you'll find even workflow type of articles to explain how to set something up or make configuration changes. There's a link, the second one here, the Plant 3D information and sources, example of places where to look, will direct you over to some of the most popular articles that we've seen used. We've got the video series on YouTube that we mentioned that's going to give you some introductions to P&ID and piping workflows, pipe routing, things like that. And there's a lot of blogs out there as well. We have one that we run called In the Pipes. So we're trying to publish information out there as much as we can, news and updates, maybe tips and tricks, and then a lot of the artist partners will put out their own blogs and maintain those. So these are certainly not the only thing that's out there. These are just some of the main ones that we've seen. So be sure to go back to the the partner site and check out some of those, because you can filter by the partner specialization and look for a Plant 3D specialized partner, and then check out their website and their blogs as well. Autodesk University is also a really good site to find training on Plant 3D. So is there anything that you're trying to figure out or something you want to learn about, go out to the AU site. They have classes recorded back usually several years, and you can filter by the product. So you could just tick the box over here and look for Plant 3D classes, and then just search there and find the topic you're looking for. So a lot of good information out there, and we've got a link here to the AU site to get access to that. I believe all you really need to do is sign in with your Autodesk account, and then you can access any of the handouts, watch any of the recordings. And then these are the Plant 3D classes from AU 2019 that just happened. They've all been posted out there. We checked, and all these are online. There's one that wasn't recorded. This one here wasn't actually recorded with the live audio, but the handouts there. The rest of these will all have video recording you can watch, and then a PDF file or PowerPoint, even a Word document maybe of the actual class handout. And one thing we want to mention is a really good tip from one of our specialists in Europe. He mentioned that so when you're searching for information online, whether it's Autodesk Knowledge Network or anywhere really on Plant 3D, Google has an advanced search function that a lot of people may not know about. You can either access that from the direct link here, or you can go in, and there's a trick. I'll pull it up here in just a second to show you, where you can put in the keywords that you want, and then you can filter that down just on one site, or narrow the results down to one site. So it's really useful. Let's say you're looking for something on advanced steel, and you know it's on like the Enterprise Hub site. You can type that in down here at the bottom of the site or domain and just get the results for that one particular site. So we use this often. You know, we do have a search functionality within the Knowledge Network, but a lot of times it's, Google has a really good index, and it's just easier to go through here. So if I bring this up here, for example, if I'm looking for Plant 3D specs, I can type this in as Plant 3D specs is my keyword. And if I put in site and then knowledge.autodesk.com, that's going to filter down, and the only results I get are articles and topics that are on that particular URL or that website. So it's really good for just searching for something specific that you're looking, some kind of topic there. And I'm pretty sure you can do this with most web browsers. Most of them have this feature besides just Google Chrome by itself. All right, put an example of that there. So we really didn't have any questions to follow up on from the last session. Those are the ones from December were all answered live. If you go back to say November, there are some Q&A that came up during that session. And what we do is we'll take those questions from the chat. We'll answer those. If we don't answer those live in the session, then we'll put them as a PDF file in this Plant Community Meetup resource store. So this is where you're going to be able to find the previous recordings of the sessions, the handouts, and then you'll see the Q&A in there as well. So I want to just kind of pause here for a second, see if there's any questions that anybody has regarding training or really anything. Is there anything that you're working on with Plant 3D? Anything you're curious about? You can type into the Q&A box. You can type in a chat. You can raise your hand. We can unmute you if you have a question you'd like to ask live. So don't be shy. We'll be glad to help you with any questions. And if we can't help you, there's probably somebody on the line that's experienced the same thing you have. All right, so we've got a question here. I'm just going to go ahead and pause, and I will unmute you, Tim. You go ahead.
Yeah, the quick question I have is, these are all really great resources. I'm a user of Recap Pro and basic AutoCAD architecture. So I'm interested in finding out a lot more actually about Recap Pro. I know I need to go to that area of expertise, but can you answer or advise where to start on that search?
I could go ahead and take that, Jason, if you want. Yeah, you betcha. So, hi, Tim. Yeah, there's just like some of the options that that Jason was showing you there, there are YouTube videos for like getting started and some workflows there. The Enterprise Hub does have some workflow videos for recap that cover importing different file formats from different scanners, registration techniques, and also the indexing, which is where you're creating recap files that can be then used in Navisworks or AutoCAD Plant 3D or AutoCAD Architectural. So I would recommend going there. There's also some good classes in the AU section there. So really, a lot of these where you get help uh, options that we have here can be used for a lot of our different products. And so I'd recommend that as probably a good starting point for you.
You're going to laugh, but I was one of the instructors at Autodesk University.
Oh, great.
For Recap Pro.
Good.
The challenge at Autodesk is they put a lot of resources in one area and very few resources in other software areas. So I guess my question ultimately is, all the resources you gave are excellent. Autodesk University is another excellent resource, but there's not much in addition to that. So I don't think you can really answer that. I'm just hoping the Autodesk company is listening and can serve customers for all of their software products.
Well, we hear you. Definitely noted, and I'll take that as feedback and send that back to the development team for sure.
I appreciate that.
You betcha, Tim.
All right, thank you for that question. We've got some here in the chat window. I'll go through those. The question about, does Autodesk have any plans to add additional functionality to Plant 3D to better support mining, minerals processing, or bulk material handling industries? So it's a good question. You do see customers in the mining industry, and a lot of times there's specialized equipment, conveyors, stuff like that. I haven't seen anything on the roadmap or the plans for like creating additional equipment modeling templates for that type of industry. A lot of times we'll see that stuff come out of like Inventor, because those are pretty complex, and you do need to like simplify those down a bit. But I mean, just off the top of my head, I haven't seen anything come up that's specific around mining itself. That it could change down the road, but like I said, I think most of that I've seen is integrated with other platforms, mainly mechanical design, something like Inventor or Fusion 360. So let's see, I have a question here on, let's see, have this not enough memory error with Plant 3D when I want to open an oily Excel embed object. Memory settings are fine, install the updates, any clue? It's there's various versions, like bit versions of Office, like 32-bit, 64-bit. Those can cause issues. So I want to try to line things up. Like if you have Plant 3D 64-bit installed, make sure you have Office 64-bit installed. OLE type of stuff, I don't know if I've really ran into that very much with the embedding in there. I don't know if you've ever done that very often, Joel. It's sometimes like that. It's better to, if you want to put in a support ticket to your Autodesk account, then somebody can either do a screen share with you and take a look at a few things, see if they can figure out what's going on there.
Yeah, it may depend on, is this inside of an ortho or an ISO that you've added, or is it in the 3D model itself? That kind of really depends on what's being utilized as far as the object enablers and that are trying to check to see if you're doing something with a plant object or not. So
right,
I think this is probably best to be done through a support case, because I think it's not something that I've seen either. So it may require some troubleshooting.
Okay. A comment here, so the software is already tailored for oil and gas plants, and it shouldn't take much to provide some additional functionality on, with industrial, sand processing. I agree, and that's definitely some feedback we'll provide back to the team. Plant 3D was originally, when you see the process and power designation, that's sort of where they started out from, and it has evolved to be mainly oil and gas. It's expanded out a little bit into food and beverage, pharmaceutical, things like that. And then I think, the next would be like getting into sort of the mining industry. So we'll definitely share that.
Yeah, I'll just mention that I've seen customers use Revit for some things like conveyors and stuff like that as well. And also, it's like, for example, with cable tray, people have done um, actual custom modules where they've created their own scripts for Python, created their own catalogs, and those are available in the Exchange App Store. And so there may be something out there. I don't remember seeing anything for materials handling itself, but there may be some additional Python script-based catalogs that have been developed out there, or basically people can develop them themselves with the SDK for Plant 3D. But yeah, if you wanted to use routing tools to route and catalogs to provide the the material handling, but out of the box right now it doesn't have any of that, and I don't know of any plans for that in the immediate future.
Okay, yeah. Let's see. So
I'll take the next one. I agree the YouTube videos are out of date. There's more up-to-date videos, Tim, in the Enterprise Hub for there. If you look for some recap things there, those are within the last couple of years, and so they should be a little bit better for you.
Let's see, there's a question on custom catalogs, having trouble finding someone for technical support and building the catalogs correctly. I will say there are some AU classes, Autodesk University classes on building custom catalog parts. Kind of depends on what you're trying to build. If it's the block-based parts where you're taking 3D, AutoCAD blocks and converting those into parts, or if you're doing scripted parts, sort of the out-of-the-box shapes and you could even get into Python scripting where you're creating, custom scripts that will drive, those dimensions will drive whatever you build out. So are you finding that there's not a resource out there to sort of take you through the whole training of creating the catalog parts, or is there something else that's kind of missing there? Because I think for the most part, okay, so you have the parts created. Okay. Is there any, so you've created the parts, is there just an issue with you said building a catalog, so assuming you're trying to build a custom parts catalog and put that into sort of an actual file, yeah. That would basically be the catalog builder that ships with Spec Editor. So the documentation is a little bit light on that. It's a little bit tricky to figure out. We'll say there's a learning curve. Let me see if I can find some more information, like maybe we have a technical PDF article that goes into depth on that, and then I can share that out with you after the session here. Because usually it's pretty straightforward, but it depends on the parts, on how you have to create Excel template, you have to get the dimensions in there, and then once you create that template, you tell it to build a catalog, and then it'll kick out a PCAP file, which is basically a catalog file, and that sort of builds everything for you. But everything's got to kind of be lined up and in place, and then when you click the button, it should work. But let me see if I can find it for you, Sean, and I'll send that out afterwards. All right, any other questions, chat, or anybody that wants to ask a live question? All righty, I don't see anything else in the chat window. So we'll go ahead and, go ahead, Joe.
As I say, it looks like we've pretty much answered most of them that we can. I was just looking on the Autodesk University. I know that there was a catalog builder class, but it was quite a few years ago. I can't find anything more recent there. So that may be something you have to take a look at, Jason. See if you
okay. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yep, thank you everyone for joining today. So go ahead and close out the session. You'll get a brief survey after this call, after you close out. So please give us feedback there, and we'll look forward to meeting with you all in the next session next month.
Thanks, everybody.